Hey guys, Michal Hucko here and welcome to another lecture of our Backend class or REST API class. In this lecture, we're gonna install all the necessary tools which we will use throughout the rest of this class or tutorial. The first tool which I want to introduce is a programming language called Python. In this class, we're gonna use Python to create backend REST APIs. So first we need to install this. When you are in your Google Chrome, in the search bar, put there Python download. You will be redirected to this result page, and the first result in my case, it's https://www.python.org/downloads. Click here, and here you will see a list of available versions for your Python. Depending on the date when you are watching this video, here might be also higher versions than 3.9. I highly recommend for you to download the latest version. When you scroll down, you will see here a specific versions, and I highly recommend to install the first one, which you will see there. The installation is as simple as clicking on download, and then you will be redirected to this page. And when you scroll down there you will see a list of files which are available depending on the distribution which you are using or operating system. Here I'm using Windows 64-bit, that's the reason why I will click here and I will be downloaded here the zip file, which then I need to, unzip and double click to install. The installation process is about clicking next, next, next. But beware of one window where the installer will be asking you if you want to add your Python to the path. There you must tick the option. So you want to add the Python to your path. You should put there a check mark in this box, in this white box on your screen. That's the only important part during the installation of your Python, okay? So please tick that option just to make sure that your Python will be added to the path. Thanks to this, then you can run Python executables from your command line. So now let's evaluate whether we have installed the Python successfully. In order to do that, we need to open the Windows command prompt because I'm on Windows. If you are on the Mac, open your terminal, and the same case is for Linux machines. So in Windows, I'm going to my start and I press there CMD and I put there CMD. And this is the command prompt for Windows. If I installed everything correctly, I should see here Python version. I press enter and in my case, it's 3.8.6. If you don't see here this output with any Python versions and you are seeing there's some error, make sure to, restart your computer. If the problem still persists, try to uninstall the Python using the control panel options in Windows and then reinstall it again. Make sure to tick this add Python to the path executable. Because of this, the Python will be also available in your command prompt. The next tool which we need to install is a coding editor, which I like, is my favorite one, Visual Studio Code. So going back to the Google search bar, I put here VS Code download, and I will be redirected to the result page where the first result is https://code.visualstudio.com.download/download. I click here and again I will be redirected to the page where I need to choose a correct installer based on my operating system and the distribution. In my case, it's a user installer for 64-bit Windows. I'm clicking on 64-bit installer and then I will be redirected to this page and slowly the executable will be downloaded. Then I double click on the executable and I will install the Visual Studio Code in my computer. Okay? So Visual Studio Code is a powerful tool, and if you have no experience with Visual Studio Code, don't worry. We will be going slowly step by step so you understand everything what is happening there. So installation is quite simple. It's just about pressing next, next, next and agree for the license, and after that you will have the Visual Studio Code installed in your computer. Try to find the VS Code or Visual Studio Code in your search bar in the Windows or in Mac or in Linux, the same should apply. When you first time open the Visual Studio Code, you will be greeted with a page like this. Maybe there is already open some greetings page which you can close. And here on the left side, you will see a navigation menu where you can open a folder explorer where are your files from the current folder will reside. We will use this screen more often. In case you are installing the Visual Studio Code for the first time, it has maybe some grayish color. In my case, I will use a custom theme for this because I like these colors. If you are interested in this theme, in the description you will find a link to a settings which you can copy paste to the Visual Studio Code. If you want to use the same theme as I do, you should go to this manage option and click on the settings. Here you will see something like this. You need to copy the settings from the description of this video. Then click on this right button here. So you want to open the settings as JSON. And then just paste the settings inside here, okay? As you can see, I have here a lot of custom settings. The most important ones which will adjust the theme and all the tools which I will use, well, tools, visual tools, you can paste there, are there in this description, and you don't need anything else. Okay, after putting the setting file, you will see that your Visual Studio Code will suddenly look like this. Next, Visual Studio Code gives you the opportunity to extend it using certain extensions. And throughout the rest of the videos, we will use just a few of them. These extensions help you to highlight the code, notify you in case there are some errors and this kind of stuff. We will use the extension which is called VS Code Icons. It's just a visual style, so you will have the same icons as I do. When you go to this extension tab in your bar here left, you click on this, you will have here a search bar and you put there like VS Code icon. And here is the first result which has more than 8 million downloads, and you click on install and then this extension will be directly added to your Visual Studio Code. The next extension which we're gonna use, it's a Python extension. So you go here and you put here Python, you click here and you install this. Through the rest of this course, we will use Python for implementing the backend APIs. That's the reason why we need this extension. Also, a useful extension, if we're gonna use Git throughout this course, it's up to you, is a Git graph, which helps you to visualize Git commits. If you don't know what is Git, Git is a version controlling system used during the software development. It's not necessary to know Git in order to proceed with this course, but it's nice to have. I'm just saying, like, you can use this extension. It's a very nice extension for your Visual Studio Code. So those are the extensions which we're gonna use, and if you install them, you are ready to work with me to have the similar results in your Visual Studio Code as I have. The next tool which I'm going to use throughout this video is a tool called Git Bash. So if you go like Git Bash, download to the Google, you will be redirected to https://git-scm.com. And Git Bash is an emulator for a Linux console inside your Windows. I really don't like this command prompt which I showed in the beginning, and I prefer really this tool which is called Git Bash. Git Bash comes with installed Git in your Windows, and it also gives you this beautiful console. I really like this console, so please, if you want to have the same console as I do, install this one into your computer. Again, the installation is quite simple. It has multiple steps, so don't worry, just use the default options during the installation. Okay, here you can see downloads for Windows. I prefer the Windows. You don't need to install the Git Bash on Linux or Mac because those two have their own terminals which look quite well, and you don't want to use something else there. This is just for Windows users, okay? So install this Git Bash into your computer because I prefer this one. If you copied the settings.json file from the description, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, into your Visual Studio Code and you install the Git Bash, after that you will have a Git Bash enabled inside your terminal. So with the Git Bash integrated here, you can run the same commands as I do in a Linux manner. If you still don't have it here and you have here this, this Windows console like this, let me show you. I will just go to settings, and the setting which is like setting my console is this one. I will comment this one, save, and open a new terminal, and you will see you will have this PowerShell window like this in case you don't have Git Bash installed, but it basically is the same, but it works just like little different. So version, Python 3.8.6, and the previous one was this one, so Python version, it's 3.8.6, okay? But I prefer my terminal integrated shell set to the executable of the Git Bash, which I installed a couple of seconds ago, okay? So it's up to you which one you're gonna use. I prefer the Git Bash, as I mentioned. Fine, so those are the tools which we're gonna use during the implementation. Next tool, which is more important, and I think you will see it maybe for the first time if you have never implemented some backend APIs before, is a tool which is called the Postman. So Postman helps you to mimic the HTTP client from the application inside your computer. If you remember from the previous video, we were using only the browser to send the HTTP GET requests to our server. So for example, communicating with the google.com, okay? But many times you want to mimic this behavior from a custom client and sending not only GET methods, but also other methods like post, put, delete, the methods which I mentioned previously when we were talking about the HTTP protocol. And you cannot just send a post with a JSON body, for example, from your browser. That's the reason why we're going to use a custom tool for this, which is dedicated solely, well, mostly for this, which is called the Postman. In order to do this, you go again to the Google and you put the Postman download. You will be redirected to this page. Again, you click here, and then the Postman has also an in-web version, but I don't prefer this one. We are professionals, right? We need a professional tool which is working directly from our computer. So you click on the button download the app. If you are using the Windows, you will be prompted to choose the version, either 64-bit or 32-bit. In my case, I'm using 64-bit version of the operating system. Depending on your operating system, choose the correct one. If you are using different distribution of Linux, or for example, if you are using macOS, you will be prompted here with a button which will download you the executable for that given operating system. Again, the installation is similar as in case of the previous tools. You just go there and click next, 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 next. Again, I highly recommend to restart the computer after installing anything into your computer, so you assure everything is ready to be working with. And after that, when you go to your Windows applications, you will find their application which is called the Postman. And when you click on it for the first time, it looks something like this. Or maybe you will be prompted to create an account. And this is something which I highly recommend you to do. So maybe here on the right corner, you will see a sync up button because I'm already logged in with my account and you need to create this account. I highly recommend doing so. Why? Because Postman has its storage connected to a cloud and you can basically share the data or the work which we will create here with the rest of your devices if you are using Postman there. So please create the account there. I'm using my Google account here, okay? So it's up to you. My Google account, it's called something funny like this because it's my mother tongue. Depending on your preference, you can put there anything. After creating the account, you will be asked to create a username, put there some appropriate username, and you will be asked a couple of questions. Why do you want to use this tool? For what purposes? And what is your role? Please fill these questionnaires can help the Postman developers to further enrich the new functionality of this tool. Next, you will be asked if you have some team. You can just continue without provisioning any team because Postman allows you to work in teams and share the data and the work between the team members, but because we are not working in a team, you can just skip this option. And after that, you will be finally prompted with this welcome screen. And here on the right button, at the right corner, you will see your account, right? If you change your profile picture, you have here some different profile pictures. Now, how Postman works. In the Postman, you have this concept of workspaces. So if you click on the workspaces, you will have here your first workspace, which is called My Workspace. And when you click on this, you will be redirected to this main view. And this view is something which we will use mostly. Here you have something which is called collections. And collections is a place where you're going to store your HTTP requests, which you want to simulate or send from this client. So this application running in your computer will be an HTTP client sending requests to the remote servers. So first, in order to create some request, you need to create the collection. You click on the collection and you will be prompted with the new collection, and you can put here some fancy name like Django tutorial, let's say that like this, tutorial, okay? You press enter and you have here your first collection. Now this collection is empty and you can create here your requests. In order to create a request, you can click on this arrow and click on add request and you will be redirected to this beautiful window. This window allows you to specify your first request and you can name this request. So let's call it like Google demo, or let's put it like this. Demo, we prefer the camel case in this case, okay? And what you can do here, you can specify an HTTP method which you want to do. And let's do the same method as your computer is doing when accessing google.com from your browser, okay? Because this is just an installation of tools video and introductory video. We ain't gonna go into details in this video, but later in these videos, we're gonna talk more about these details. So you click on the get method because you want to do the get. And next you need to specify the URL, uniform resource locator, as I mentioned previously. And you need first this locator. So you go to the Google, and the locator is here at the search bar. You click on it and you copy the whole thing with the HTTPS and the backslashes at the beginning. Then you come back to your Postman and you paste it here into your Postman bar. Don't forget the get. And as you can see, the Postman is already providing for you some headers. These are the headers. Maybe you have hidden them like this. You need to click on this button, then you can see all the hidden headers which are being already provided by the Postman. And then you can send this request. And this will do the HTTP GET request, the same request as your browser was doing in the previous videos. And now you have the response here, which is an HTML. HTML is a special data type. In the previous video, we were talking about JSONs because REST APIs will be applying with the JSONs. But because this is a presentational server and it's sending us a presentational, HTML, we see the code which is being sent to us in our browser. Now you can say, okay, but in the browser it looks different. It is some fancy search bar and things like this. But this is the real code, how it really looks like. It has some head, there is some body, it's encoded in the HTML tags, but this is not the HTML tutorial, okay? So don't worry. The key thing from this video is we're going to use this Postman tool to simulate the HTTP GET, POST, PUT, DELETE requests to our server, which we will create later in this tutorial, okay? So this video was about tools. The important part is you need to install the Python and you need to install the Visual Studio Code. You don't need those fancy colors and those fancy Git bash terminal, but I prefer this one, so I showed you how you can install it on your own if you want to follow along with me with the same setup. But it's up to you. I recommend for those who want to be professional programmers to install the Git bash on Windows and do the stuff inside there, okay? Then we install this Postman tool and I showed you how to use it. It's important to create your account here so you have all your data synced with your other devices when you will be developing later with multiple devices. So, I hope you installed everything. Please don't be discouraged when something wrong happens, when you will see some errors. Please let me know, ask questions, okay? I want to help you. And this is the first step, and I understand this first step is sometimes confusing. And many times there are errors which then, when they occur, we are just discouraged and we just won't continue with the rest of the tutorial. But please, try your best to install these tools. Even watch this video multiple times, write to me, and make sure everything is installed properly. So this is everything from this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I will see you in the next one.